Hey guys, Dr. Chafee here. Just want to do a quick little video on how to start carnivore. This is just some of the tips and tricks that I talk to people about, like my patients or friends or people trying to start carnivore. Basically, it's quite simple. It's just you're eating meat and drinking water, and that's it. Okay, you can salt to taste. Eat fatty meat. Fat's very important. You can eat organs if you want, but you don't have to. Okay, and you don't want to get too many organs because you can actually get hypervitaminosis. People talk about how nutrient dense they are, and that's true, but that can also be a problem because they're much more nutrient dense than muscle meat, which has everything you need. So by definition, it's going to have a little too much. And so if you're eating this stuff out of proportion of the animal, remember how many hundreds of pounds of muscle and fat a cow is going to have to every 1 pound of liver. Okay, it's not going to be a lot of liver every day. Okay, so a bit of liver, a bit of organs, totally fine. Don't overdo it, and you don't have to have any if you don't want it. The Inuits didn't eat them. I don't eat them, and I've been doing this for years. Okay. The most important thing is really about what not to eat, okay, as opposed to what to eat. We know what we need to eat: meat, drink water, okay, get the fat. But it's important what not to eat, okay? So my hard rule is no plants, no sugar, nothing artificial. And that goes for sauces, seasonings, and drinks as well, okay? So it's not just animal meat and animal products, right? Oh, honey, that's an animal product, right? Well, it's actually bee vomit, and they're just vomiting up concentrated nectar, okay, which comes from a plant. So if you want to get technical, it goes back, and it's not exactly an animal. But it's also sugar, okay? So there's more fructose in honey than high fructose corn syrup, okay? And so this is bad. Now, people may argue that in the form of honey, fructose is actually good for you, but they have absolutely no evidence whatsoever to back that up with. So all of the best evidence that we have is that fructose causes harm, and so I would avoid that at all costs, okay? So some of the pitfalls that people cut through, okay? A lot of people come to carnivore because they have weight, they want to lose some weight, or they want to address some medical issues, or maybe they just want to optimize their health, but they're used to having to eat in a disordered fashion with Western diets or vegetarian or vegan diets where you have to worry about portion control and calorie count, fasting, intermittent fasting, all these things. You don't need to do this, okay? You just eat fatty meat when you're hungry and eat until you're satiated. So you eat until it stops tasting good. If meat doesn't taste good, it means you're not hungry. But if it does taste good, you are. So you should listen to that. If meat tastes good, eat it. Eat it until it doesn't really taste good anymore. Then just stop. Okay, let your body be the judge of what you need. If you're not eating carbohydrates, you can actually listen to your hunger signals. It's the carbohydrates that rearrange your hormonal signaling panels to make you think you're hungry when you're not. Okay, so if you're not eating carbohydrates, you're not going to be feeling hungry when you're not actually hungry. Okay, so you actually have to relearn your hunger signal. So that's something to watch out for as well, because some people can undereat. Okay, when I was first doing this, I definitely underate because I didn't realize that fact. That was 20 years ago or so. But I wasn't eating enough because I never felt hungry traditionally. But then I relearned my hunger signals and realized what hunger actually felt like, okay? Fasting, you don't need to fast. You don't need to intermittent fast. These things can be helpful, especially when eating a Western diet. But all the studies show a benefit as compared to a Western diet, but not really a benefit when compared to what they call a fasting mimicking diet, which is a ketogenic diet. So a lot of the majority of the benefits are coming from just getting into the right metabolic state, which is our so-called fasting state, what we call in biochemistry, but I argue is our primary metabolic state. This is the metabolic state where all of our heavy machinery comes to bear. This is the metabolic state of animals in the wild, including humans, because humans are eating meat, okay? Exercise. People think, well, if I'm eating all this fatty meat, that's going to make me gain a lot of fat unless I exercise a lot. That's actually not true. You don't have to. I don't, I look like I work out, but I actually don't have time to work out that much because I'm just swamped at the hospital with everything I'm doing. I love to work out. I absolutely get a lot out of it, and I really enjoy it. I'm actually going to the gym after this, but you don't have to do that to achieve optimal health. The food is the optimal health. You're putting in the optimal fuel, and that will optimize your workouts as well, and you'll get a lot more out of them when you do work out, and you'll get a lot of benefit from it working out, okay? People think about you have to eat certain meats only. You can't eat fish, or what about chicken? All these sorts of things. Any meat that you enjoy is fine. Any meat that tastes good, that makes you feel good, and that you can afford is fine. Some people have different sensitivities, especially like people with autoimmune issues. Sometimes they have to actually stay more towards like the grass-fed beef side of things. Even chicken and pork or egg whites can actually cause problem when they're still healing, because they're still very sensitive to these things. But if you're not one of those people, have eggs, have chicken, have whatever you want. Okay. Really, all this comes down to is, don't make it complicated. Eat meat, drink water, be happy, get on with your life. Okay. You just eat until you're full, and then enjoy the rest of your day. This is going to save you huge amounts of time. So don't overthink it. You don't have to track every little calorie. You don't have to track every little macro. Just eat what tastes good. Stop when it stops tasting good, and your body will do the rest. Your body knows what it's doing. If you need a calculator to figure out what to eat, you're eating the wrong thing, okay? Because nature is natural. It just happens. It just happens all on its own. And so if you are living naturally, you'll be able to respond to your natural instincts, okay? So also, don't be scared off by the naysayers. You came to this for a reason. You started doing this and you feel good. People are going to come at you and talk about, well, what about this and what about that? Well, what about cholesterol? It's going to cause heart disease. What about red meat? It causes cancer. Okay, well, what about it? Arm yourself with the facts. Know what you're talking about. Watch my videos. Watch Dr. Baker's videos. Dr. Barry's videos. Watch all these and tons of others. Professor Noakes. So many people out there that you can learn from, and then you can just dive into the literature. We all cite our sources. We all talk about different meta-analyses and different studies that show what we're talking about is for real, okay? And that's why we're coming to these conclusions, because the evidence really does show this, okay? And I put a lot of links in my videos when I'm talking about specific issues like cholesterol, and I'll probably put some links down in the description here, just so you can arm yourself with a few key studies and go from there, okay? So also, people get tripped up by thinking that they have to be perfect. Like I like living optimally. I like not having any of this stuff in my system, and that's how I feel the best. And I like feeling my best. So that's what I do. If you were to slip up, or maybe you were doing this really well for a while, and then you had some rice or something else, it's okay. You can start again the next day. It's all right. It's actually okay, because you're going to be seeing the contrast now on how good you feel versus how bad you feel when you're eating these things that you don't want. And that's going to reinforce this. You're going to be like, wow, I actually do feel so much better. And when I eat just a bit of rice, I actually feel like crap for 4 days. So I really don't want that. So some people I talk to say that, they're doing great. They're feeling amazing. They've never been strong, never felt stronger, never played rugby better. Like they're just great. And then they go to their parents' house and like, well, but I had some rice, so I guess, I guess that's it. It's like, well, no, I mean, you can still hang out. It's okay. You're not, I'm not mad at you. You just start again, just start again. And they kind of look at me like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, just go again. We all trip up, you don't have to be perfect right out of the gate. So, if something's not exactly perfect, to my standards, like, it's fine. You just keep going, keep working on it. Okay, it's not a problem. A major one that people end up having problems with is alcohol. Obviously, alcohol is an enjoyable experience and a social experience. It's hard for people sometimes to go out into these, alcohol-fueled ventures and social experiences and not drink alcohol. I'm more used to it because I never drank during the rugby season for many years. I did, before I was 21, and then after I turned 21, I was on antibiotics for a month, and I really couldn't drink, and so I had to go out, sober, and I was just like, oh, this is weird, this is strange. And then the next time it was still weird and strange, but it wasn't as bad. And the third time was sort of neutral. I didn't care one way or the other. And the fourth weekend, I actually preferred it. I preferred being sober. I preferred talking to people sober. I thought it was funny that people were drunk. I was able to drive home. I wasn't spending all this money at the bar, and I felt great the next day. And I started performing better in rugby, and I started performing better at life. And I just thought, wow, I'm absolutely feeling amazing, and I'm playing out of my skin, even though I was sick and I had pneumonia. I'm going to try this for the rest of the season. I'm just going to not drink for the rest of the season. I had the best season of my life, so I'm like, right, I'm just not going to drink during the season after this. So I'm used to that, but you can get used to it. But if you do drink alcohol, again, you slip up, you just hop right back on. It's not that big a deal. And if you want to drink every now and then, and you really don't want to stop that, okay, that doesn't mean you have to eat, pizza, rice, cakes, and cookies as well. Okay, so even if you're just eating, eating meat and drinking water, and then occasionally you're having some drinks, that's still so much better than the other people who are drinking probably more than you are and eating all that other crap. All right, and then as you're going and you're feeling better and better, and then you drink, and you're like, wow, actually that pulls me back for actually a lot longer than you think. Actually, I don't get back to being able to work out to the same level. I mean, I feel fine, but I'm not able to work out to the same extent that I normally do after I drink for up to 3 weeks. Okay, so that's just not worth it to me. And I feel fine. I can do all my daily activities fine, but when I'm working out to a high level, I definitely don't have the same exercise tolerance or energy level or strength that I do for like seriously full 3 weeks. Okay. So those are some of the main things, okay? So just remember, look, this is the easiest diet in the world. This is the easiest way of eating in the world. Keep it that way, okay? You know exactly what you can and can't eat, right? Meat, water, salt. That's it, okay? No plants, no sugar, nothing artificial. That goes for sauces, seasonings, and drinks as well, okay? So you know what you can eat. You know what you can't eat. There's no confusion here. You don't think, oh, well, is this kind of, you have hard set rules. You know exactly where you're at, okay? And if you choose to make exceptions, that's your choice. But you do know what, what we're trying for here, okay? You eat as much as you enjoy, okay? Not as much as you want. I want to finish this thing. Well, if your body's telling you to stop and it's not tasting good anymore, it's becoming a chore to eat, that's when you know you should stop. Your body's telling you that you should stop. Okay, so eat as much as you enjoy eating. Okay, and then eat any time of the day or night. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now I feel better working out and working and doing things on an empty stomach. I've always played hungry. I've always trained hungry. I just feel better that way. I don't have food in my stomach trying to digest and a lot of blood diverted there, so that I can break this food down. You go into a rest and digest mode. You just feel a bit more chilled out and maybe lethargic. So for me, I feel a lot better eating towards the end of the day, and I end up just naturally just going to sleep. Some people don't. Some people like to eat earlier. That's fine. It doesn't matter. The only time it really matters is when you're eating carbohydrates. When you eat carbohydrates late at night, that raises your insulin up, and then that blocks growth hormone. Growth hormone gets kicked out at its height about 2 hours after you go to sleep. Okay, it's just part of your natural rhythms. Okay, so when your insulin is up, that's going to block your growth hormone. That's going to actually screw up your body. That's going to screw up your health, because growth hormone is very important. It's a very important hormone. Okay, so that's when it matters, is when you're eating carbohydrates. Then you don't want to eat right before bed. When you're eating carnivore, eat whenever you like. Eat whatever fits your schedule and makes you feel the best, okay? And then fat. How much fat is enough? Well, I like to go by taste, first and foremost. If it tastes good, listen to that. Also, I like to go by your stools. It's a very easy way to see if you're getting enough fat or not. Your body absorbs fat using bile, okay? It's very hard for your body to absorb fat if you don't have bile, okay? Bile emulsifies the fat and allows your body to absorb it, all right? Your body can absorb some fat, and usually like mid-chain fatty acids without bile, but a very small degree. This is just in physiology textbooks. That this is how this process works. So most of the fat that you eat after you run out of bile will actually just go out in your waste. Okay, so you're not going to really run into problems eating too much fat, because you're not going to absorb it. You're only going to absorb a small percentage of the too much fat, okay? Unless you're doing something silly like taking ox bile or something like that, because that's going to force you to absorb more than your body is actually asking for. So unless you have a problem which requires ox bile, like you don't have a gallbladder anymore and you want to eat a big meal at one time, okay, well maybe I could see making an exception. But really what you should do if you don't have a gallbladder is just eat multiple times during the day to space out those fatty meals. And some people make a pseudo gallbladder and actually works as a normal gallbladder, so they can just eat normally, okay? So if you're not taking ox bile or something like that, you can just, you won't absorb more than your body has bile for, which I think means that's more than your body wants, okay? A little bit, but not much. The rest of that goes out, okay? So it's that little bit extra that gets in your stools and makes them soft. Okay, so if you have hard, dry stools and are constipated, then that means that you're absorbing every ounce of fat that you're eating, and it's very, very dry and hard. Okay, When you are constipated, that's when it's dry and hard. You're going to absorb 98 to 99% of the meat that you eat anyway. So you're just going to be going far less often. Don't worry that you're not going more than, once every couple of days or once a week. It doesn't matter. You go when there's waste to get out. Okay. If you're eating a whole bunch of non-digestible fiber, and it's the same as if you're eating chunks of plastic, you can't digest it, you can't absorb it, so it has to go out. So you're just having this stuff to come out all the time, and we're just used to this stuff coming out all the time. We think that that's normal. It's not normal. Okay, that's your body just trying to get this stuff out of you because it's not good for you. Okay, so if it's dry and hard, that means you need to increase the fat. If it's soft and a normal consistency, well, that means you're getting just the right amount of fat. You're getting all the fat that your body wants from the bile and a little bit extra. So you've just topped yourself off with the fat, right? And then the rest of this goes into the stools, and that keeps it soft. If you're eating a lot more, then that's going to be that's going to come out quicker, right? You're going to get loose stools, and that's one of the common causes of loose stools in carnivore is way more fat than your body can absorb, right? It can also be because people still drink coffee or still use artificial sweeteners, especially anything ending in OSE. So sucralose, and all the different alcohol sugars. These things cause diarrhea, plain and simple. And so a lot of people they'll get diarrhea when they first start carnivore, like, oh my God, I had this horrible shit. And it's just like, yeah, well, are you still drinking coffee? Are you using artificial sweeteners? Quite often the answer is yes, and coffee will absolutely move things along, all right? If you are not doing that, if you're only eating fat, the likelihood is you're eating, or you're only eating meat and drinking water, the likelihood is that you're eating more fat than your body can absorb. Just pull it back. Just pull back the fat, and you'll be fine, okay? So I hope that was helpful, just as a little sort of crash course on how to get started. That's a question that I do get asked quite often. So hopefully people can find some use out of that. And any other sort of specific questions that I didn't cover here, maybe just asking the question in the comments, and I can try to make another video. I'll also be doing a video on fiber and constipation and a few other things coming up soon as well. Okay, all right, guys. If you like that, and you think that might be helpful to someone else, please share this with them so that they can get some tips and tricks and hopefully have a successful journey with carnivore. Okay, and if you like and subscribe, that would really help me out, and it helps get the message out as well. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you later.